All right. Hello, this is Stacy Shanks and Tracee Stanley, and we're really excited that you're here today to talk about some important topics that are on the minds of a lot of people: intention, passion, and purpose. And I've got on the line with me on this live broadcast Tracee Stanley. I actually found Tracee on the Yoga Maya video. I was inspired by her talk as a spiritual leader and just about the whole, the lessons, and the theme of that video was, it really was about, for yoga teachers, more than the 200 hours that we typically go through in training. It was being more, living more intentionally and on purpose, and keeping our knowledge open and aware. So Tracee, hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Stacy? Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I love talking about these topics, so I'm very excited to share what I know and what my experience has been.
Well, we're really happy to have you. But before we get into some of the juicy questions, can you tell us a little bit about how you came to be and sort of your journey in the yoga community?
Yeah, well, let's see. I was a film executive about 20 years ago, and was really, this is before the time of headsets. So, you know, when we were answering the phones, we were always like this on the phone, and I wound up going to a masseuse, and she said to me, you should try some yoga because, you know, you're really damaging yourself by the way you're holding the phone between your ear and your shoulder. And so my idea of going to yoga was really more for a physical practice. But the first class that I had a very profound kind of energetic experience in the class, and I realized that there was a lot more to yoga than what I had thought I knew about it. And I was literally hooked from that moment forward. I started practicing 5 days a week, eventually went on my first yoga retreat, and eventually picked up a copy of the Yoga Sutras. And when I read the Yoga Sutras, I realized, wow, you know what, there's a lot more to yoga. There's a promise of yoga, which is really about fulfillment and joy in the everyday, and I really need to find a teacher who can help me find that. And I searched around, I asked a lot of friends, and I found my current teacher, Rod Stryker, and I started studying with him. And really got inspired to share yoga with people by opening a yoga studio and eventually getting my teaching certification, and started to really feel like I had two lives, because I had this life as a film producer, and then I also had a life as a yoga teacher and yoga studio owner, and those lives were not really blending together. So it was almost like I had two different communities. And what I would find is that a lot of my friends who were executives would always ask me, because they were stressed out, how do you stay so calm? You know, they were making tons of money, but they were always very unfulfilled. And so my goal was always to try to find a way to make yoga accessible and feel like something that would work for them. But yet I could see that I wasn't doing it in my own life. So it's been a journey to be able to blend those things together. I feel that I've done a pretty good job of being able to do that. I own a company called Maya, and we produce and distribute yoga videos. And those yoga videos are more educational, so they're not just kind of like your half-an-hour yoga class. They're really more deeper teachings for advanced students and people who are aspiring to be teachers and teachers themselves. And we work with master teachers all over the world and get these out to people, and that's been very fulfilling. And I also still make movies, and the movies that I make now are not action films, but they're more conscious movies. So I figure that I found a way to kind of blend all of the things that I can do together and all the things that I'm passionate about. And I love to travel and teach, and, you know, all my passions are really thriving right now. So I'm very happy to be here and talk about that.
We're so happy. And it's so interesting that, when I started on this path as well, I was in pharmaceutical sales, and it seemed like I was compromising some of the values in my life to earn money or to, get it bigger, better, always moving ahead on the corporate ladder. And it sounds like you have made a conscious decision of not compromising your non-negotiables, things that you would not compromise. I mean, would you say that's the case?
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely say that's the case. It was an interesting dynamic to be, in a company and in a business where people are compromising all the time. People are compromising because they want that movie role, or they're compromising because they want to get an extra, however much money for the job. But what I found was that having that sense of integrity and, kind of the moral compass where I was not really willing to move off of that course, eventually, once I started to have more control over the people that I could hire on films, that I would look for the same vibration in everybody that I hired. And it would change the entire set. It would change the entire atmosphere. And I remember there was a film that I produced with Forrest Whitaker and a director named Tim Bowie. And at the beginning, before we hired anyone, we said, we're going to go by the energy of everyone. And regardless of what their resume says, we really want to go by the energy, because we want our set to feel like a welcoming place and a healing place, and where there's not any drama. And at the end of that film, I had so many people send me emails saying it was their best working experience that they'd ever had, because they felt the energy and they felt the intention that we set at the beginning of that movie of what it was going to be. So I really feel like I was able to bring the principles of yoga practice into the work environment. Many times I didn't have other comrades who were on the same page, so it was just my intention. But in that particular instance, there were 3 of us who really wanted to have the same intention, so it was also very powerful.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. That sounds like, when I first left the corporate world, it was about making changes, and I found a shift in even the people that I hung out with, my friends, people that were on one track of partying and living a fast life were on a different track than what I was on. And I found that all my friends, my circle of friends changed. And it sounds like with you, even in that, bringing that into your work life is possible. Is that one of the steps that you would recommend for people to start considering, is get together with like-minded people?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's even a very big and important spiritual teaching, is that you surround yourself with like-minded people, because what you surround your energy with is definitely what you become. And if you want to aspire to be something, or, in a particular field or a particular level of achievement, you really have to be amongst people who are at that level of achievement, whether it's something that's spiritual, material, whatever it is, that concept carries through. And so I think that just by doing spiritual practice and becoming more conscious and more aware, you start to see certain things, and you really start to raise your own vibration and frequency. And I think what happens is other people who are sharing that same frequency connect with you, and other people who aren't don't connect with you, and that's why those friendships fall away. But I feel like actively seeking people who are, at the level that you want to be at is really important. And I think, in having said that, one of the most important things is really having a teacher, and a teacher that represents in their life, and not only in their teachings, where you would like your life to be, so that you have kind of a beacon to look towards, and that person can help, guide you.
Now, what do you mean? Can you share with us more about a teacher? Because, in yoga, oftentimes we talk about teachers, and we have a lot of teachers in our lives, but are you looking for like someone that you hang out with all the time, or you follow the work that they do, or what do you mean? Be more specific about the teacher.
Well, when I talk about teacher, I don't consider teacher to be your friend. like, I don't consider teacher to be someone that you're hanging out with. So it's a little different than maybe the person whose class you go to on Saturday and then you go and have a tea with them afterwards. It's really more somebody who is, the word guru, and I'm not speaking about guru in the sense of, oh, we want to dress in white, but the word guru means somebody who can lead someone from the darkness to the light. And so you really want to have a teacher who is at the place where you want to be, where you know that they've done their practice, they're doing their practice, they have teachings, they're connected to a living lineage, and I'm speaking specifically about yoga right now, and that they can actually guide you somewhere, and that you can call them and they can give you practices that will help move your life forward. And I think that there's a lot of people that we can call teachers, but when you call someone a teacher, you really need to be able to look at their life and see that it reflects everything that they've been talking about. And I think sometimes we don't often see that with prominent teachers. And certainly over the last few years, we've seen certain things that have scandals that have happened where people who have been very prominent teachers haven't been reflecting in their own lives what they've been talking about. So, it's a journey to find the right teacher, but I definitely think that it's worth the effort to find someone that can help you and guide you. But ultimately, the teacher's there to empower you. They're not there to disempower you. They're there to give you the tools, teach you the tools, and then you kind of go on your own and use those tools to empower your life.
So much sense. It really does. Can you tell us more what you mean about setting an intention? When you're talking about finding your true passion and purpose, how would you help someone create an intention for that?
Well, I think that it's a twofold question. I think that we have to let go of this idea of finding our passion and purpose and think more about it as an uncovering of our passion and purpose, because our passion is and our purpose is something that's already within us. It's not something outside that we need to go hunting for. So I feel like it's really more of an internal process. And there's many different ways to find what your purpose is. For me, I worked with my teacher with his book and his system of the 4 desires that's very specific about and gives you techniques to be able to find that which is, really lights you up, and the things that you're good at. And when you kind of see
I think we're waiting for Tracee to join us back. I think I got knocked off as well.
Oh, okay.
Here she comes. We were talking with Stanley about this, and really about how you find your intention. For me, way to think about intentions as far as setting an intention for your day or for your week or even for your yoga practice, but how is intention
Mm.